Evening, good evening. Okay. So tell me, where are you located? I'm located in Miami, Florida. How about you? Hi, Sarah. Which part of the states you are located? I'm located in Miami, Florida. Okay, we have Optimist from Virginia. Good evening, good evening, good morning. Somebody's saying good morning. Maybe it's morning where you are. For me, it's 8 p.m. here. What time is it in your place? I'm curious to know. Today's subject is self-judgment. We are having part 2 of self-judgment. I will just wait to have more people, then I will dive deep into it. Hello, beautiful people. Hello, Ramadan. Hi, Selma. Today's subject is self-judgment. Self-judgment. Are you ready? Are you ready to tackle, to explore this subconscious pattern? So for those who know me, and for those who do not know me, I am an NLP coach, trainer and consultant. I'm based here in Miami, Florida. And we'll tackle today self-judgment pattern. Yesterday it was the first part. Today I will go through the second part. Hi Omer. Hi Patty. So happy to have all of you here. Hi Dans. Okay. Happy to have you. Happy to have all of you here. Today's topic is self-judgment. Hi Omar, thank you for the flower. You are not serious to talk about this subject. Who told you that I don't know about this subject? You didn't study in my place. So yeah. Hi lovely people. Hi Apex. Hi Betty. Hi Omar. Look who is here. How are you doing? It's been a while. So today's topic is self-judgment. Yesterday it was the first part, so today is going to be the second part. And of course I will take you through what I explored yesterday briefly, and then we will carry on with the second part, today's second part. So for those who has just joined and who were not there yesterday, I would like to know, when you hear the pattern self-judgment, what is the first thing that comes into your mind? What is your perspective when you hear the pattern self-judgment? I'm curious to know. Thank you, Omar. If you can tell me, what is self-judgment in your point of view? So how about if you tell me, Omar, what do you think about self-judgment? Or what is the first opinion that pops out when you hear the word self-judgment? When you hear this pattern, what is the first thing that arise in your mind. Hi Hajar. And for those who are located in the States, I'm curious to know which state you are located. I'm located in Florida, particularly Miami. How about you? Where are you located? Hi Ahmed. Hi Ali. Hi Love. Hi Hind. So if you like subjects from an NLP perspective, you can follow me, as every week I am tackling a different subject. So last week it was perfectionism. Before last week actually, but last week it was procrastination. This week I'm tackling self-judgment, and next week you can even choose if you want me to talk about one specific pattern. I will be happy to talk about it and explore it from an NLP perspective. So feel free to send me either in my DM or even here what you would like me to talk about next week. Okay? Happy to have all of you here, lovely people. So if you are ready, I would like you to answer me. What is self-judgment in your point of view? When you hear the pattern self-judgment, what is the first thing that comes into your mind when you hear self-judgment? Okay, we have Apex. Self-judgment is when you blame yourself for things you wished they shouldn't occur. Exactly. You got it all right. So things that did occur in the past, whether behaviors or situations, and you're not really satisfied about how you behaved or the outcome of it. All right, we have genuine self-judgment. To me is being self-aware. Are you sure that self-judgment is being self-aware? I'm just double checking with you. All right. I'm waiting for your answers. What is self-judgment for you? When you speak to yourself in a negative way, exactly, optimist. When you speak to yourself in a negative way. Thank you for the rose update too. And please share with me, what is your perspective about self-judgment? Hi Ismael, hi Puero, hi August, hi Dodo, hi Ayub, hi lovely people. For those who has just joined, today's subject is self-judgment from NLP perspective. So if you self-judge yourself, stay with me. I'm going to share with you. Thank you, Dodo. That's so sweet. So stay with me. I will share with you an amazing and exclusive content. Okay? And also tell me, when you hear the pattern self-judgment, what is the first thing that pop up into your mind? Thank you for your lovely gift, Dodo. That's so sweet. Hi Akram, hi Yusuf. So if you're ready, would you like me to go through it a little bit? Self-judgment, all right, let's see. Self-judgment is the self-assessment which is right, which is wrong. Yes, You are partially right, because when we say self-judgment, it's a kind of self-assessment, but it's mainly negative. It's not positive, because you are self-judging yourself. Oh, I did this wrong. Oh, I shouldn't have did that wrong. So there is a self-assessment, but the self-assessment or the self-reflection reflection is negative. Self-judgment could also, okay, apex, let's see, could also be the battle you feel due to unsatisfaction about the present and past. Yes, it's actually an internal battle. It's a little bit near to self-sabotage, you know, when you self-sabotage yourself, a little bit near. But as you said, yeah, there is an internal battle between you and yourself, okay? You got it all right. And yes, it's due to unsatisfaction of behaviors, of situations, of things that did occur in the past or in the present moment. Though it is self-blaming. So self-blaming is also part of self-judgment, because judging is like the big, how can I explain it? Judgment is the big one, and self-blaming is part of self-judgment. I hope I did explain myself clearly. Because in self-judgment, we have self-blaming, self-criticism, okay? All right. So I'm going to give you a brief about what I talked about yesterday concerning self-judgment. So self-judgment is an internalized authority voice that evaluates your worth based on your performance. It evaluates your worth, how much you are worthy, based on how you performed, okay? It's simply not only lack of self-confidence, it is a learned survival strategy. It's a learned survival strategy, a strategy that you did learn basically in your childhood. So at some point in your early development, throughout your childhood, in your childhood experiences, the mind concluded that, and hear me out on this, criticism would prevent rejection. If I criticize myself, I would prevent rejection. People would not reject me. Because when I criticize myself, I would not put myself in a situation where I do something wrong. So basically, I will not be rejected. Okay? Can you see this, this belief? This negative belief, unfortunately. So instead of waiting to be judged by others, okay, the system began judging itself first. So instead of waiting for other people to judge you, your system, which is your nervous system, which is your subconscious mind, is starting to judge itself first. So what once protected belonging eventually became a rigid identity structure. It becomes a rigid identity structure. And when you have this identity, it's heavy. You will feel this heaviness because you are in constant negative loops and negative thoughts repeatedly saying to yourself. Okay? So, beautiful people, anybody has any questions so far? Let me check if you text me something. Okay. Very clear, thank you. You're welcome. So if you have any question, I'm going through the comments right now. You can directly send your question. It is related to how your parents praised you in a way or another. It is related to how our caregivers, who can be parents, who can be grandparents, sometimes even teachers, how they behave with you when you do a mistake. If they are understanding and encouraging, or they are the opposite. So I am located in Miami, Florida, for those who are asking. And I am an NLP coach, trainer, and consultant. And today's topic is self-judgment. I'm happy to have all of you here. Thank you, Ziad. Keep going. Yeah, for those who are asking, I am located in Miami, Florida. Okay? And I am an NLP coach, trainer, and consultant. Hi, Maestro. Hi, Ibrahim. Hi, Mohammed. Hi, lovely people. For those who has just joined, don't forget to follow, because tomorrow I will carry on the same subject, which is part 3 of self-judgment. Nice to see you. Thank you, Med. Any questions so far? Because I would like to talk a little bit about our nervous system in relation with this pattern, to give you a little bit idea about it. Okay? Karbiti. Hello, Anna. Hello, Amr. Hello, Imad. Hello, Nebras. Hi, Faris. Well, we are speaking English here, so why don't you take it an opportunity to learn, to learn another language? That's always nice. And now English is an international language, so it's always good to learn. Hi, Naima. How are you doing? Nice to see you here. Hi, Al Hassan. If we avoid the self-criticism, self-judgment, is this lead to narcissism somehow? My straight answer is self-criticism, self-judgment. Does this lead to narcissism somehow? Okay, Apex. So I'm going to answer this question in a way that I explain what you are trying to ask. Okay, first, it's a very interesting question. Thank you for that. And second thing, when we talk about self-judgment or self-criticism or self-blaming, it is actually us talking to ourselves in a negative way. Okay? Oh, I shouldn't have did this. I'm not smart. Or, you start telling yourself negative words. I don't want to say them, but you know what I mean. Like telling yourself, oh, I shouldn't have talked like that. I shouldn't have behaved like that. I shouldn't have be too nice. I shouldn't have be too caring, or I shouldn't have be too generous. So basically what you are doing here, you are talking to yourself in a negative way. Okay? And when we talk to ourselves in a negative way, what happens? We tend to repeat that pattern or that behavior unconsciously. Okay? So the best part is to reflect, is to talk with ourselves in a compassionate way, is to be empathetic with ourselves. Okay? At that scenario, or with those people, or in that particular situation, I shouldn't have behaved that way. So what have I learned from that situation? Okay, I have learned that I should not be overgiving for people. For example, I'm just giving you random examples. I should not be overgiving for people who does not appreciate my generosity, or I should not be over understanding for people who will take me for granted, or I will not be over supportive for people who just try to find any situation to put me down. Okay, so you are self-reflecting and you are trying to understand what you did wrong, and when you understand what you did wrong, you learn from it so that next time you will not repeat it. And this is self-reflection, which is positive. Okay, but self-judgment, which is negative, is talking to yourself in a harsh way, in a bad way, you know, like when a parent talks to his kid or tries to teach his kid something, everything is about how he's teaching his kid something. When you come and try to teach a kid something, you should talk to him nicely and make him understand what's the mistake that he did, and next time he will learn, because he's a kid, he's still in this period of learning. He's new in this life, he doesn't know many things. But if you just scream at him or insult him or hit him, that kid does not know what's going on. So what happened here, he will perceive he will perceive your behavior as something negative. And because of that scenario that might happen in his childhood, he can have so many patterns, and one of them can be the self-judgment. So I hope that I did clarify my point. If we want to talk about narcissist people, they don't self-judge themselves, they don't self-criticize themselves, they don't they are like in their mind and in their thoughts, they think that they are the best people of the world, they are flawless and they don't do mistakes. So this is what is going on in their mind, this is their thoughts. Okay, so I hope that I could answer your question. What's going on here? Okay, you're welcome. All right, let me see if there is more questions, and I'm always happy to answer your questions. I tell myself that I'm smart and I don't need to study and fail. What should I do? Thank you, Mustafa, for your comments. First, it's good to encourage ourselves or tell ourselves positive things like I am smart, I can do it, I am intelligent, and study and work and do the action. But just repetitively telling myself I am smart, I know everything, I am the best of the best, that's tend to be negative. I'm not talking about you, you. I'm just saying, like, as an example. You know, when a person constantly say positive things to himself and he doesn't do the action, it's like he will feel that he just by being there, he doesn't need to do any work, which is negative. Okay, so tell yourself positive things, that you are smart, that you are intelligent, that you are this, that you are that, and do the work and do the action. I'm just trying to go back to see if there are other messages that I didn't see them, and please send me your messages. And I would like you, Mustafa, to tell me if you want to elaborate more or to answer back what I have just shared with you. Can you repeat that point about speaking in negative way? Okay, sure. So what I mean here by us speaking in a negative way is when it comes to self-judgment, which is the pattern that I am tackling today. You keep on telling yourself that, I shouldn't have behaved that way. I shouldn't have talked to this person that way. I shouldn't be too nice. I shouldn't be too positive, or I shouldn't be too generous. And you keep on repeating that, that negative scenario. And when you keep on repeating it, it just it activates a very negative feeling inside of you. But the best way to do it, if you feel that you did something that you are not proud of, or you feel that you did a mistake, the best way to do it is to talk to yourself in a compassionate and empathetic way. All right, I did a mistake. I shouldn't have behaved with that person that way because he does not deserve my generosity. What should I do? So you are not judging yourself, you are reflecting, you are reviewing the situation to learn from the experience, okay? And then to move forward so that next time when a situation similar to what happened occur, you will be able to deal with it in the right way. All right? I hope I did explain it. Okay, lovely people. Anyone has any more question? Hi Nada, hi Turkish. I see, but could inflate the ego. We won't be able to see our bad side. I think I already answered this, Apex. Yeah, exactly. For those who are asking, so I am a coach, NLP coach, trainer, and consultant. So I do one-to-one coaching sessions, and I also do a group training. So if any one of you has a pattern that you would like to work on, you can directly DM me. And I do the session online. I think I answered your question, Asharawi. Okay. All right. Perfect. Yes, self-judgment is a negative pattern, and I'm going to talk about it now more in detail. So stay with me, Apex, okay? So now I'm going to tackle self-judgment from the just join. Which session are you talking about there? Okay, hi, Lion. So I'm talking about today's topic is self-judgment. And for those who has just joined, I am an NLP coach, trainer, and consultant. And I was explaining that if any one of you has a pattern that you would like to work on, I do one-to-one session. So this is what I was explaining, Mr. Lion. So how the nervous system responds in such pattern, or how does the nervous system respond in such pattern? So self-judgment is rooted in threat perception. There is a threat there. That's why you are self-judging yourself. When a child experiences mistakes, and hear me out on this, it's just like the example that I gave you earlier. When a parent his color his kid in a negative way, it will lead to a pattern such as self-judgment. So when a child experiences mistakes as leading to shame, punishment, or emotional withdrawal, the nervous system encodes imperfection as danger. So the nervous system encodes imperfection as danger, because belonging equals survival in childhood. So the child wants to belong, and in order for him to belong, he, in this case, self-judge himself to belong to the group. So because belonging equals survival in childhood, social disapproval activates the same biological stress response as physical threats. So you will feel it physically. It will manifest in your body as stress. This is when you were a child. In adulthood, this appears as anxiety. Before speaking, you will feel tightness in the body when making mistakes, or sometimes even freezing before taking risks. So you freeze. You are so scared not to take any risk. Why? Because you're afraid to be judged. So what you do, you self-judge yourself. Okay? So the reaction feels so intense in the body. And here I'm trying to explain for you how does this pattern, the self-judgment pattern, manifested in the body and in the nervous system. Okay? Because before freezing or before self-judging ourselves or before doing any thoughts in our mind, first it manifested in our bodies. All right? So the reaction feels intense because the body still believes something dangerous is happening. So the body believes that something dangerous is happening. All right, so this is about the nervous system response. I'm curious to see if any one of you asked any question. Okay, I can see that there are no questions here. Perfect. So I can carry on. Okay, let me see. I think I saw there is a question here. I turned off self-judgment the moment I realized people don't matter. Okay, that's a good thing. It's a good thing that you turn off this because it's a negative pattern anyway. Ghost. You welcome, Billion is the leader. Any questions so far, or should I carry on? Plus, it's whatever, because people are gonna judge you anyway. Yeah, that's another way of seeing things, Ghost. So the subconscious rules that drives it. The subconscious rules that drive self-judgment. What I mean by the subconscious rule, it's going to be a belief that you have in your mind and that drives this pattern. All right? So over time, the brain forms unconscious rules designed to prevent rejection. So the brain forms unconscious rules designed to prevent rejections. And I'm going to share with you those unconscious rules. And if you want, you can write them down. Because if you have these rules, if you have these beliefs, if you have these thoughts, know that you have this pattern and you need to work on it. Okay? So you can write them down or type them in your laptop or iPad or whatever, but they are very, very important rules. Those rules will show that you have self-judgment as a pattern. And yes, let me tell you what does mean a pattern, because sometimes people ask me, what do you mean by a pattern? So a pattern is a subconscious behavior that you repeatedly do, and mostly it is negative. Okay? It's a negative behavior, but it is a subconscious behavior that you don't want to have it, but it is there. And the only way to dissolve it, and the only way to get rid of it, is to resolve it at the root, is to reprogram your subconscious mind. Because if you try to change it, or if you try to to transform it on a superficial level or on a behavior level, it will not work. I'm sure that you did that, like I did it myself, or some of you have a pattern and you tell yourself, all right, tomorrow I'm not going to self-judge myself. You think it's just like a decision that you take, and then the next day it will disappear. And of course, it's not effective. Okay, so let's dive deep into those rules, and please write them down because they're really important. So these rules often sound like, okay, they often sound like, they can be the exact same ones or similar. So the first one is, I must perform perfectly to be valued. I must perform perfectly to be valued. If I don't perform perfectly, I am not valued. That's the first rule. If I fail, I am flawed. If I fail, I am flawed. And the third one is, I must hide weakness to be accepted. I must hide weakness to be accepted. And as I have just shared with you, those rules, they sound like this. They can be similar, they can be, but when you hear something similar to this, know that behind it is the self-judgment pattern. So these are identity level beliefs. Okay? These are identity level beliefs. Maybe there is okay. Perfection has nothing on consistency. I got to tell you this. Okay, yes, perfection has nothing to do on consistency. And today I'm not talking in perfection, I'm talking about self-judgment. And perfection and also procrastination, fear of failure, fear of success, and there is a large number of patterns. Their main root is our subconscious. Okay, I don't know, Gus, if you were there with in my lives last week. I talked about perfectionism. So I talked about it for 3 parts. All right, so yes, it has nothing to do with consistency. It has everything to do with your subconscious. Can you repeat? Yes, sure. I will repeat one more time. So when it comes to the subconscious rule that drive this pattern. So the brain forms unconscious rules. Those are rules that are unconscious. And those rules are there to prevent rejection. They are designed to prevent rejection. So let me share with you those rules. Or what sounds like those rules. As I told you, they cannot be the exact same words, but they sound like. I must perform perfectly to be valued. If I don't perform perfectly, I am not valued. If I fail, I am flawed. I don't have the right to fail. If I fail, I am flawed. Or I must hide weakness to be accepted. I must hide weakness to be accepted. So those are identity level beliefs. Those beliefs are tied to our identity, or to whoever has this pattern. They actually fuse behavior with worth. They fuse behavior with how much worthy I am. If I perform, I am worthy. If I don't do mistakes, I am worthy. So in this case, a simple mistake becomes an attack on the self. When performance equals value, imperfection feels, thank you, Nawab, that's so sweet. So I was saying that when performance equals value, imperfection feels like identity collapse rather than a learning moment. I would like to share with you the roots of self-judgment, but before that, how about if I check your comments, and feel free to ask me any question regarding the subject of today, which is self-judgment. You are new, Ghost. Okay, so welcome. So for those who are new, today is the part 2 of self-judgment. I did tackle part 1 yesterday, and today is part 2, and tomorrow is going to be part 3. So welcome for those who are new. Nobody has a perfect life, and nobody ever will. Exactly, Ben Agbi. You got it all right. Rejection is an important lesson. Yes, it is an important lesson. I would not agree more. I like your comments. If I fail, I am flute. I don't know this word, Nada, but do you want me to share with you how to spell it? If I fail, I am flawed. If it's Flawed. Flawed. We should accept things as they are. The more you deny and the more we don't accept as they are. All right, so this is quite general idea. So what do you mean by that exactly? Like accept things as they are. Which things exactly? Because there are things that we have to accept them as they are, but there are things that we are able and we can change them to the best. Okay. Acceptance is the cure. Yeah, acceptance of what exactly? Yes, acceptance is the first part. Is like self-awareness. You need to accept how you are. Oh, thank you, Nawaz. You need to accept how you are. You need to accept your mistakes. You need to accept many things. And then the next step is change. And of course, not everything we can change it. I'm talking about things that we are able to change. Perfect. Anybody else? I'm happy to hear your comments, or if you have any questions, or if you are new and you'd like me to explain something in particular, I'm always happy to do that. And don't forget to follow, as every week I will be tackling a pattern from an NLP perspective. And for those who have just joined, NLP is Neuro-Linguistic Programming. Neuro-Linguistic Programming. In simple terms, it's practical framework that shows how our mind, our language, and our behavior are deeply connected, and how each one of them influences the other. Perfect. Should I carry on with the roots of self-judgment? That is a significant part. What are the roots? Hello, Oruka. What are the roots of self-judgment? Thank you, Nada. That's so sweet. Happy to have all of you here. And feel free to ask me any question. And by the way, at the end of the live, I will leave 10 or 15 questions that you can ask me whatever you want. Anything, even if it has nothing to do with the subject of the day. Okay? So now I like all of us to stay concentrated on the subject. You can ask me anything regarding self-judgment pattern. But at the end, I will give you 10 or 15 minutes. Thank you so much, Nada. That's so sweet. So I will give you 10 or 15 minutes. You can ask me whatever question you like, and I will be happy to answer you. Okay? Thank you, Oroka. That's so sweet. Thank you, lovely people. So I'm going to move now to the roots of self-judgment. Are you ready to know what are the roots of self-judgment? I'm thinking maybe tomorrow, if you would like, to have a guest with me who have this pattern, the self-judgment pattern, and I can go ahead and do coaching with him or her. I don't know if you are interested, but if you are, you can let me know. You can either send it here or in my DM, because I've never did that before, but I will be happy to do that if you have this pattern, the self-judgment pattern. Okay? So I'm going now to move to the roots of self-judgment. Are you ready? So what are the roots of self-judgment? The first one is, of course, conditional approval in childhood. What happens in our childhood? So when praise and attention were primarily linked to achievement, okay? Ashraf, I came for me with a problem, if not problem, with success. Okay, thank you, Ashraf, for your comment, but if you can clarify it a little bit, because I didn't really get what you mean, okay? That would be nice. Random question, are you a personal coach? I am an NLP coach. And not a random question, what I mean by question, regarding coaching, of course. But it's not going to be a particular question about the subject that I'm talking about today, okay? So if you have just joined Muscle, the subject of the day is self-judgment. Perfect. Oh, thank you, Nada. That's so sweet. I think you are new here, so I will be happy to have you here. Tomorrow also, I will have the third part of self-judgment. And next week, I will talk about another pattern. And please feel free, all of you, to send me in the DM what are the patterns that you would like me to talk about. Last week, I talked about perfectionism. The week before, I talked about procrastination. I did fear of failure, fear of success. So whatever pattern that you think you have, or you just want to have more information about, you can just DM me, and I will see how many people DM me the same one, and I will talk about it next week. All right. So let's go back to the material. So the first root is the conditional approval in childhood. As I shared with you, when praise and attention are primarily linked to achievement, the child internalize what we call conditions of worth. Yes, I am only worthy if I achieve. So please, if we have any parents with us tonight or this afternoon, wherever you are, know that every word you say or you communicate to your child, know how to communicate it. Because if the child linked that he is only worthy when he achieves, when he grows up, he will have this pattern, the self-judgment pattern, and it's a very negative pattern. So in this case, the child will feel that the love is earned, okay? It's not inherent, it's earned. So the love is not unconditional, it's conditional. He has to achieve, he has to do this and to do that in order to feel worthy. So the message become, I am acceptable only when I meet certain standards. This is what the primarily rule that the child internalize. I am acceptable only when I meet certain standards. And over time, external expectations transform into internal critic. Okay? That continues enforcing those standards. long after the authority figures are gone. So that's why this pattern stays with us as an adult, because we got it from our childhood through our caregivers, parents or grandparents or whoever was there in that specific period of our lives. Any questions so far? They have a predisposition to acquire language and other behavior. What do you mean by they have? You're talking about kids. Mm-hmm. To acquire language and other behavior. Yes. Yes, Eroka, that's why it's very important for parents to really know how to communicate with their children. Because children at that age, they are not that mature. So basically, they take every word as it is. So they don't understand the positive intention of the parents. They don't understand why their parents are doing that. They don't understand that they are doing it for their own sake. Okay, so that's why it's really good to communicate in a very clear way with the children, so that they will not have, or they will not internalize such negative rules. Imagine if a kid, he will only feel worthy, okay, if he achieve something, whatever, at school or in sports. So if he does not achieve it, he does not feel worthy. So see how much it's detrimental to a child. And of course, he will have it, or she will have it, with her as an adult. Perfect. Let's see if there is any more question before carry on to the next point. I think, Oroka, it's your first time here? I don't remember. I practice anchoring and it works for me. Okay, can you share with us which anchoring do you practice? Because anchoring is one of the very fundamental tools in NLP. And there are lots of ways of anchoring. So I'm curious to know, Mehdi, which type of anchoring do you practice? I do not think it's inherited from our childhood. Okay. But science and psychology said that, so it's up to you. If you don't want to believe it, it's okay. Yeah, I'm really curious to know, Mehdi, which type of anchoring are you practicing? I was Cupid. Okay. All right. Okay, Cupid. Yeah, because I know Cupid, but I don't know Erika. Nice to have you back, Cupid. So what's your name? What's your real name to call you? If you want, of course, to share with me, you don't have to. All right, so we have I use hand gesture to lock state of minds. I can revert back when in need. Perfect, Mehdi. And how did you learn it? Yeah, because you said hand gesture. So anchoring, for those who does not know, there are couple of ways to anchor a state. You can do it through hand gesture. You can do it through a symbol. You can do it through a sound, an image, and to lock a state that whenever you fire this anchor, the state comes back. I think I have to talk about anchoring in one of my lives, because I don't know if what I explained now was really sufficient or I need to go through it more. If you'd like me to explain it more, I can go through it more. But good, Mehdi. That's good. Oh, okay, Simo. All right, so I'll call you Simo then. NLP seminar. Okay, great. Did you watch Tony Robbins, or you were present in a seminar? So you are familiar with NLP? That's great. Perfect. I like your answer, Milud. They're always very, very deep. Perfect. So now we're going to dive deep into the second root, which is social comparison and performance culture. Comparison. Comparison. Please stop comparing your kids. I don't like that. I see it in all cultures, by the way. Comparing your kids to their siblings. Comparing the kids to their cousins, to their classmates. I was present and I learned a lot. Oh, perfect. Yes. NLP is a very, has lots of practical tools that if you know how to utilize them, they are amazing. So I am breathing NLP, Mehdi. Nice to have you here. I think it's your first time here. So I have been doing every week live for 3 times. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and I choose one particular subject and I tackle it, okay? And also I tackle it from an NLP perspective. So feel free to follow, and tomorrow is going to be the second part of self-judgment, and the third part, of self-judgment. And tomorrow I will talk much more on NLP. So I will tackle how NLP, okay, dissolve this pattern, not manage it, not mask it, but resolve it at the root. So let's go back to the second root of self-judgment. So as I said, social comparison and performance culture. Children naturally compare themselves to peers. They do that naturally. So when they repeatedly observe others being rewarded for flawless performance, status and approval become linked to achievement. So status and approval become linked to achievement. So the brain interprets lower performance as lower belonging. If I am low in my performance, I don't belong. Lower performance equal lower belonging. And this reinforces the belief that value, as I shared before, value depends on being better, faster, or more impressive than others. Okay, give me 1 second. I'll be with you. 1 second. Oops. Perfect. Okay. I don't know why I'm getting this. We have detected inactivity during your current life. Sorry about that, but TikTok are just trying to be sure. They're sending me a couple of puzzle pieces. Yeah, okay, perfect. Let me see if any one of you texted me or send me a comment. And link them to daily habit. Perfect, Mehdiya. It's mind-opening to know that there are other ways to formulate thoughts and link them to daily habit. Exactly. The best way to do is to implement everything that you have learned in the seminar. That's a very good way of doing it, because I believe that everything that NLP can teach us is mainly practical tools, and you can implement them on our daily lives. And the more you implement them, the more they become embodied. Like you said, anchoring. Like I use anchoring on a daily basis. And it's so fast. The more you use it, the more it becomes very fast. Perfect. Okay, Simo. Interesting. Thank you. So let's go back to the third root, which is attachment dynamic. So from an attachment perspective, and I will give you at the end 15 minutes if you would like to ask me any question not regarding the subject, and I will also talk a little bit about NLP, of course. So an attachment dynamic. So from an attachment perspective, self-judgment is often a strategy to secure connection. Okay, so you are self-judging yourself in order to secure connection, so that you will not leave the others judge you. So you are flawless. Tell me about the peak performance. Okay, what do you want to know about peak performance? Amir. Anxious attachment may drive overperformance in order to maintain closeness. Remember on Valentine's when I talked about anxious attachment and I talked about avoidant attachment? So here also, avoidant attachments may encourage hiding vulnerability to avoid rejection. So it's also linked to self-judgment. So let me repeat it one more time. Anxious attachment may drive overperformance in order to maintain closeness. And avoidant attachment may encourage hiding vulnerability to avoid rejection. So that's why we call it avoidant. In both cases, the underlying fear is the same: losing connection. So self-criticism becomes a way to regulate that fear internally. So the person who has an anxious attachment and the person who has an avoidant attachment, they are both afraid. So that's why in Valentine's, when I tackled this subject and I said that there are three main attachments, two are unhealthy and one is healthy. So the anxious attachment and the avoidant attachment, they are an unhealthy attachment. And the secure attachment is a healthy attachment. That was between brackets. So I'll talk now about NLP. So if you stay with me here, for those who been here with me a couple of times, I think you are quite aware, or you're quite thank you, Hiba, thank you, that's so sweet. So I'm located in Miami, Florida, for those who are asking, and I am an NLP coach, trainer, and consultant. Okay? So for Amir, you told me, tell me about the peak performance, and I said, what do you want me to tell you exactly? Because I'm about to finish, so I can ask questions that are not related to today's subject. So NLP stands for Neuro-Linguistic Programming. Neuro-Linguistic Programming, okay? It's a set of practical tools. Those are practical tools that shows how your mind, your language, and your behavior are connected, and how each one of them influences the other. So I will repeat it one more time. It's a practical framework, NLP, it's a practical framework that shows how your mind, your language, and your behavior are deeply connected, and how each one of them influences the other consistently. So here is the key. Your thoughts shape your words, and your words influence your emotions, and your emotions shape your behavior, and then your behavior reinforces your thoughts. Let me repeat it one more time. So it starts with your thoughts shape your words. So you think first and then you talk. Shapes your word. And your words influence your emotions, and your emotions shape your behavior, and then your behavior reinforces your thoughts. It's a continuous loop running in the background. And once you are aware and you know about this loop, you can start to change the way you think, you feel, and act. So I would like to give you an example here. A very simple example. It's a quote from Henry Ford. So Henry Ford says, whether you think you can or you can't, you are right. So whether you think you can or you can't, you are right. Because when you say I can do this, I can read 5 books, I can run for an hour and a half, I can reach my goals. Just the fact of saying it, you're not doing anything. You're still in your place. But just the fact of saying it and repeating it, it activates an energy, a motivation inside of you. And then you are most likely to do it. However, when you say, I can't read 5 books, I can't run 1 hour and a half, I can't achieve my goals. And again, you are not doing anything. You are just saying it. But when you're saying that you can't, what happens here? Your energy drops. Your emotions contract, and your motivation is really low. So you limit what you even attempt. So here I would like to ask you one question. Yes, Simo, exactly. I agree, personal belief influences actions. Exactly. Personal belief. The belief influences the action, and the identity is the glue of the belief. So it starts with the identity, the belief, and then the behavior. We call it the neurological level of NLP. If you would like, you can go Google it. Maybe one day I will talk about it. There is not much material, of course, in the net, but one day I will talk about it because it's really good to know the neurological level. And it starts with the purpose and then the identity. So when you say, and this is between brackets, when you say, for example, I am a healthy person. This is your identity. You are a healthy person. When you say I am a healthy person, it means I practice sport, I eat healthy food, I sleep good. It means this is who I am. This is my identity. Belief can work as an obstacle or a motivator. Exactly. That's a very valid point, Simo. And I think Einstein said, I'm just trying to quote him. Maybe I will not see it exactly how he said it, but you will get the meaning. So I think Einstein said that it's easier to break an atom than to change a belief. See how much beliefs are the foundation of a human being. So he said it's easier to break an atom than to change a belief. I just was studying this in linguistics. You're talking about what exactly? About the beliefs or about what I have just shared now? If you study in linguistics, it means you will study Noam Chomsky, because we studied about it also in NLP. That's good. I like having people who study things that I know about. Language acquisition, exactly. Perfect. Good to know, Simo. So at its core, NLP helps you understand how your mind actually works. So NLP helps you understand how your mind actually works. Most of our reactions, emotions, and behavior aren't conscious choices. They are driven by subconscious program running on autopilot. So NLP gives you access to the language of the mind. So you can recognize those programs, update them, and take back control instead of letting your mind control you. So you are not letting your mind control you. You are the one who is in control. All right. So with that, I am ending the live and I am opening the floor for you. If you have any question that you would like me to answer, even if it's not related to today's subject, which is self-judgment, I am happy to answer it. And I'll give you 5 minutes. I can give you even more if there are more questions. Hi, Kiko. So don't forget to follow. Tomorrow is going to be the third part of self-judgment as an NLP subconscious pattern. Belief and behavior don't change or too difficult. It's from childhood. The belief and the behavior, they both can change. Yes, they are related to our childhood more or less, but they can both change. So what is your question? If you want to know gold, if they can change, yes. Yes, they do. Jacques Lacan. Yes, that's a different school, Jacques Lacan. Hi. Okay, they do change. Yes, exactly, Simo. They do change. It's not easy, but they do change. Belief, identity, behavior, thoughts. Anyone else would like to ask me something? Those are so deep questions, Milud. And I would need another hour to talk about it. They are emotional, not static. Exactly, Simo. You got it all right. Have you read Mind Mapping for Tony Buzan? Mind Mapping? I don't think so. I don't think so. What is about exactly? Because in NLP we do have mind mapping too. We talk about mind mapping. Hi Fuad, hi Ismail. So any question before I end the live? And see you tomorrow, 8 p.m. Don't forget to follow. Don't forget to follow for those who are new today. As tomorrow, I'm going to go through the third topic, the third part of self-judgment. He is the master in this subject. Give it a look. Yeah, I would give it a look. Why not? Thank you for your suggestion, Sameh. Thank you. All right, so in this case, I'm going to leave you. Wish you a good night or evening, wherever you are located. And I hope that I brought to you important and significant insights and realizations, and I will be happy to have you tomorrow, same time, 8 p.m. Eastern time, so you can see what time is it in your mind mapping is a technique of brainstorming. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. I didn't want to go through it because it needs also lots of explanation, but yeah. Thank you, Simo. So what's happening here? So I'm ending the live. It was about self-judgment. Tomorrow I'm going to tackle the third part of it. So thank you, everybody, and see you tomorrow. Bye.